asked me to just welcome you all back. And those of you who were on the tour that Anita organized yesterday, I'm sure I had a great time. As I was wandering through the halls, I went by outside Mrs. Oldfield's office.
Your pride.
$25 who's buried in Grant's tomb. Yeah, I can tell you didn't anything about this. There's a picture of our major organizer at the Somers Manor Nursing Home. You know how much you can see this? We'll pass that around.
75th.
Oh, okay. 75th High School reunion, and it says walkers, wheelchairs, and oxygen tanks will be available. Bring your old body. Solomers will not be liable for wheelchair collision accidents on the dance floor, and Solomers will not be liable for bladder accidents resulting from excess alcohol.
What is Bob
Now, Dan, I just want to...
What is Bob saying?
He says, I expect everyone alive to attend. The question I have is Dan, for you, is the definition of excessive alcohol the same as it was senior week, or has it come down? Well, I was walking by Mrs. Oldfield's classroom and thinking to myself, God, I remember being 17 years old in there. She's up there talking about Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, World War I. How on earth could anything from 50 years ago be relevant to us? And it's kind of amazing how your perspective changes. As I'm thinking, I still look like I was when I was in her classroom. But I want to, as Bob asked me, I wanted to welcome you all back. Congratulate all of you and myself for being able to get here and coming here and caring enough. It's been great so far, and I'm sure we're going to have a great night. I know Bob is going to mention some people who've done a lot of work, but I'm going to step one ahead of them, because any event like this, there's always a few people who do the work, and Bob is going to talk about them. But the few people who do the work only are able to do the work because there's always someone who is the catalyst that brings it together. And the amount of organizing and innovation and imagination that Bob has shown, not just now, but from 2 years before our 45th, is just incredible. And for being the spirit and heart and soul of the class of '61, let's all give Bob a great He'll still be on the website, and he'll still be bitching at all of us for not answering his emails.
Good point.
Okay, as Mike mentioned, we had a number of people who were really key in bringing this whole weekend together. And starting with our first event yesterday, Anita DeFrancesco organized the school tour and the historical tour. So I'd like to recognize Anita for a fine job. And if you've never been to the Historical Museum, you might want to stop in sometime. And if you do, you go to the back, the last room, and in there you'll get to see Anthony's 1955 blue satin gym shorts. His name is proudly displayed. And I think, if I'm correct, Anthony, wasn't it Richard Simmons that designed those? I tried to convince him to wear those tonight. I even offered him some money, but he wisely denied. Also, actually my partner in crime, I don't know, where's Valerie sitting? Oh, there's Valerie. For those of you who visit our class website, you probably noticed that we have some kind of unique photos. And there's one particular character that appears to be the brunt of all of these alterations. And Valerie does a great job with those.
That was Valerie?
Oh, so-
Where is she?
Dan happens to be the recipient of a lot of these alterations, and I happen to know that Valerie is the one person that Dan fears the most. In fact, I asked Valerie if she thought she might need a bodyguard tonight, coming up into the area, because Dan has threatened retaliation. She said, "Well, I'm not afraid of that shell of a man." And, oh my gosh, there's my wife, Rosemary. She's the voice of reason in our house, and she's kind of the director of quality control. Everything kind of has to go through her. So she's been right there all along, helping out. I can't say anything, any anecdotes or anything, because I might not be exceptionally bright, but I'm not stupid either. I do have to go home tonight after this is over. So. And, and Diane and Alan. Once again, are hosting the brunch on the Sunday tomorrow morning.
Rain or shine?
Rain or shine, the food
Rain or
will be
shine,
there.
right?
Rain or shine.
Absolutely.
There is a tent.
Bring your bathing suit. What's the difference?
And those of you who are going over, you might want to take notice just before you get to their house. There are some sculptures that are on the, if you're coming from Mahopac, on the right-hand side along the wall. And I know that Alan has done those, usually as a result of flashbacks from the 60s. And if you take a look at those sculptures, you'll see what I'm talking about.
It's called anger management.
And, of course, last but not least is Dan Shaywitz, who once again has done one heck of a job. And if you look around and just about everything you see here tonight, the way everything's set up and everything, is all Dan's work and creativity and so forth. And really appreciate everything that he's done. And he deserves a very long round of applause. Okay, now, speaking of Dan Shaywitz.
Bring the duck out.
This is the second reunion I've worked with Dan, and he kind of has a work habit that is rather unusual. And Nilda knows what I'm talking about, and Rosa knows what I'm talking about. And after 2 years of this, I began to wonder, in all honesty, I'm sure you're all familiar with The Odd Couple. Felix Unger and Oscar Madison. Well, if it was Felix and Dan, Felix would be Oscar. If that gives you any idea of what it's like. But anyhow, he's out here and he's measuring the circumference of every balloon to make sure it's perfect, and each one is exactly hung at the right height and so forth. And so, after seeing all this rather unusual behavior, I contacted the AAA RB, that organization, and I explained, what Dan was like to work with. And son of a gun, if they didn't send a package came in the mail from them just a few days ago. And they made Dan their Man of the Year for 2011. And I gotta say, I'm really thrilled, because I have never really worked with or known a Man of the Year before. Now, for those of you who don't know the AAARB, it's the American Association for Anal Retentive Behavior. Right, Hilda?
That's right.
And so, they asked if I would present this to Dan this evening. And Dan, would you come up here, please, and receive your award? This is quite an honor, folks. You know? This is not just man of the year, the award for the whole entire country.
Wow. That's really great. Thank you. Anal retentive, what? Thank you.
Now, did you?
Yeah, we need to get the champagne for it. Where's,
Okay, we may have a little break here in the action.
no, it's all right. Actually, we should get this over. All right.
Yes.
My arthritis.
Your leg laughter, there you go.
Doctor, you'll live to be 60. Patient, I am 60. Doctor, see, what did I tell you? You've been brought here for drinking. The drunk says, when do we get started? Someone stole all my credit cards, but I won't be reporting it. The thief spends less than my wife did. She was at the beauty shop for 2 hours. That was only for the estimate. She got a mud pack, it looked great, for 2 days. Then the mud fell off. My wife and I went to a hotel where we got a waterbed. My wife called it the Dead Sea. In the bathroom and cried. What are 3 words a woman never wants to hear when she's making love? Honey, I'm home. Milda, now don't get upset at this one. I've been in love with the same woman for 49 years. If my wife ever finds out, she'll kill me. I apologize. Where the 45 was. This champagne was made with grapes picked in 1961. I know some of you probably remember me saying that at the 45th, but I assume that after 5 years, most of you forgot. Yeah, I'd like a glass of champagne also. Our high school years were very special years. We established a bond with our fellow classmates that continues to this day. We had no preconceived ideas about life and the relationships that resulted. And I'm sorry, let me just go back a little. I really blew it this time. We established a bond with our fellow classmates that continues to this day. We had no preconceived ideas about life and the way we were to live our lives. The friends we made and the relationships that resulted were instrumental in formulating our ideas and opinions. Ideas and opinions that we have continued to use through the years. That's the special bond that draws us together 50 years after our high school graduation. Let's toast our fellow classmates for that special bond in which each and every one a future filled with health and happiness. Now, the bottles in the chairs when you get a chance. Possibly not now because we want to continue. I was kind of frustrated this time. He did think we would get more than we did at the 45th. But be that as may, it wasn't a lack of effort on Bob's part. And of course, Rose also was very instrumental in keeping us all together for the past 6-7 years. Now, I know most of you don't know Bob as well as I do. Bob has had a very interesting and unique life. And I think that all of you might be interested in seeing some highlights of Bob from the time he was born till now.
I showed him a picture last night when I got married. His father played him at my wedding. His father, Bobby's father. Yeah. Yeah. And he played him at my wedding. He was thrilled to see his father.
Photo. He was a beautiful baby. The Decatur's actually wanted twins. Can you imagine Bobby and his twin? Aren't they adorable? Bob was always smiling. Behind that smile was a demon. This is Bob's first birthday party. And if you'll notice, there's a little premature balding and gray hair. Next picture of Bob is his first beach adventure. Hey Bob, is that a double hubble that you were holding? Aren't you cute? Of course, Bob also wanted. Christmas Eve, Bob always wanted to know how Santa arrived at the house. So he'd stay up all night, peek around the tree. Did you all know that Bob had a dog named Flash? You know, Bob loved his dog, and his dog loved him. Bob graduated high school with honors. And in this picture, he really does look like a future Apple CEO or possibly a farmer. What do you think? Actually, he looks a little like Steve Jobs, doesn't he? This is Bob's first Halloween costume. Mickey Mouse Musketeer in drag. Do you all remember the A&W on Route 6? Bob's first job was as a waitress at the A&W. And did you know he was recognized as the A&W Waitress of the Year? Bob finally tied the knot with his high school sweetheart Rose. It was a blissful and loving beginning. By the looks of Bob in the picture, I wonder who or what he loved more, Rosemary or cooking. You know, Bob had a lifelong dream. Finally became a reality. He wanted to be a chicken farmer. You all know that Bob had a goat. He named it Gertrude. Every once in a while, Bob went into the barn to bond with Gertrude. Now, Bob had his erotic moments with Gertrude. Milking Gertrude? Is that an erotic moment, Bob? Are you kidding me? Mounting Gertrude backwards, Bob? You know what Bob's ultimate fantasy was? He wanted to be a tough, mean cowboy. Now, Bob, like all of us, went through his midlife crisis. In Bob's case, he wanted to relive his youth as the stud that he was. Did you know that Bob happens to be a par golfer? However, many are amazed how well he does with his unorthodox swing and unique golf attire. Jack Nicklaus was very impressed. Nicklaus knows that Bob is a golf hustler. Bob had an experience on vacation with Rose. They went to Indonesia.
Dan, thanks very much for that very elaborate performance. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I promise I won't stretch this out too long. I'm going to ask Dan to do a favor for me, though. I'm going to ask him to, in 25 words or less, because I don't want Bob coming up here and trying to answer all of that. So I'm going to put Dan on the spot just a little bit. In 25 words or less, Dan, I'd like you to summarize the experience with your Chevelle, the garbage truck, and skippers. 25 words or less.
Skipper's Restaurant was in the way.
So welcome. Hey, old lady, I'm going to come
I thought I liked you.
Oh, I was talking to